She was the sister of a queen, the mistress of a king, a woman once whispered about in every court in Europe. And then she vanished. Before Anne Boleyn changed the course of English history and lost her head on the scaffold, there was another Boleyn girl, Mary, used by her family, desired by kings, betrayed by her blood. This is the story they never wanted you to remember, the scandalous, heartbreaking and shocking tale of Mary Boleyn. Born around 1499 into one of England's most ambitious families, Mary Boleyn grew up at Hever Castle, surrounded by privileged tutors and rising expectations. Her father, Thomas Boleyn, and her uncle, Thomas Howard, Duke of Norfolk, had one goal: power. And in Tudor England, daughters were the currency of ambition. Mary was beautiful, bright and graceful. She was trained in the art of conversation, dancing, falconry, music, and the manners of a future nobleman's wife. But instead of being married off to a great English lord, she was sent abroad, to France. There, Mary would begin her descent into scandal. Mary joined the household of Princess Mary Tudor, sister to Henry VIII, as she travelled to France to marry King Louis XIV. But while other English ladies were soon sent home, Mary remained. Her father secured her a place in the glittering and morally lax French royal court. While there, it's believed Mary became mistress to none other than King Francis I. The French king later branded her with two names that would cling to her legacy for centuries: the English mare, the most infamous whore in the French court. How much of this was true, we may never know, but her reputation followed her back to England, and it would mark her life forever. Back in England, Mary was quickly married to a well-connected courtier, William Carey. The wedding was a grand affair. Henry VIII himself attended, and soon after took Mary as his mistress. But this wasn't a romantic love story. This was strategy. Her family, particularly her father and uncle, wanted her in the king's bed. They encouraged the affair, knowing that intimacy with the king could bring them favour, land and power. Mary became a pawn. It's during this time she gave birth to two children, Henry Carey and Catherine Carey. And rumours soon spread. Were they the king's children? Henry never acknowledged them. But the timing and the children's positions later in court raise eyebrows to this day. Despite the supposed intimacy, Mary's position at court was never secure. When she became pregnant again, Henry lost interest. She was quietly cast aside and replaced. Not by another noblewoman, but by her own sister, Anne Boleyn. Anne was smarter, shrewder, and far more ambitious than Mary. She refused to become a mere mistress. If Henry wanted her, he would have to make her queen. And he did. The English Reformation, the break with the Catholic Church, the downfall of Catherine of Aragon, all of it for Anne. Meanwhile, Mary faded into the background, no longer useful to her family or the king. Then came Mary's greatest betrayal, and her greatest act of defiance. In 1534, she secretly married William Stafford, a soldier far beneath her social rank. The union was for love, not ambition. But in Tudor England, love was not a luxury for women of status. When news of the marriage reached Queen Anne, she was furious. Mary had married without permission, without profit, without strategy. The entire Boleyn family, mother, father, uncle, even Anne herself, disowned her. Mary was banished from court, cut off from support, and plunged into financial hardship. She wrote desperate letters to Thomas Cromwell, pleading for help. "I had rather beg my bread with him than be the greatest queen in Christendom." The court did not listen. Mary spent the rest of her life in obscurity, while her sister ruled the most powerful throne in England. But Anne's triumph would be short-lived. Just 2 years later, Queen Anne Boleyn was arrested, tried, and executed for treason. Mary, now the only surviving Boleyn daughter, never returned to court. There's no record that she visited her parents, no record of where she lived or how she spent her final days. On July 19, 1543, Mary Boleyn died in quiet anonymity in her early 40s. No tomb, no monument, no legacy. History remembers Anne Boleyn as the tragic queen who lost her head. But Mary Boleyn lost something even more devastating: her name, her dignity, and her place in history. She was used, betrayed, and forgotten, but now we remember.